everyone, we are from class 11 and this is our presentation video for the Business and Professional Communication course. Let's start by introducing ourselves. My name is Putu Amaragita Tiarani Wicaya and my friends.
My name is Komang Trisna Dewi.
And my name is Gusti Ngurah Putra.
My name is Ketut Rema Yoni Antari.
Now that you know us, let's move on to our topic, English for Socializing. We hope you enjoy the presentation. First, before we start too many situations to explain, I will explain about what is English for Socializing. According to Oxford Business English by Siley Gore and David Gordon Smith, English for socializing or people who want to be able to build good relationship with international clients and colleges. Whether you are at a business dinner, an exhibition stand, showing a visitor around your company, or attending an event after work, you need to be able to make conversation in an appropriate and confident way in order to establish and maintain successful business relationship. English for Socializing present all the essential expression and conversation technique that will enable you to socialize and make business contacts in English. Next. Okay, the first situation that I will explain is first meetings. First meetings has a goal to make a good first impression when meeting new people. The first, at the reception desk. The example is, hello, my name is Amaragita. I have an appointment with Dr. Budi at 3 p.m. and how to respond it? The response must be, thank you, Miss Amaragita. Please have a seat while I inform Dr. Budi. The next is introducing yourself. The example is, let me introduce myself. My name is Gita. You must be Rema. Nice to meet you. I'm Gita. Next is introducing another person. You can say, can I introduce you to Asoka? Asoka, do you know Rema? And how to respond it? The first is, that's right. Next is, pleased to meet you. Nice to meet you. I'm Rema. Hi, but please call me Rema. Sorry, I didn't catch your name. The next is do and don'ts. Source from the link that I share. The do's is greet with confidence. The next is over a handshake if appropriate. The next is prepare question. And the don'ts is don't act overly familiar and don't emotionally dumb. The next is polite offers. That can be, can I get you something to drink? And may I take your coat? And how to respond it? There must be, yes please, a glass of water would be great. And no, that is okay, I'll keep it with me. Another example that I get is from that link. The example is, how about dinner at my place tomorrow? Can I get you something for tonight's dinner? And good evening, sir. What can I get you? And the next situation is social praise and responding. Social praise has a goal to give polite and appropriate response in conversation. The first is offering help, like, would you like to me help you carry that? And the answer is, that would be great, thank you. The next is requesting, like, could you close the door please? And the response is, of course, that's no problem. Next is asking permission, like, do you think I could leave work early today? And the response is, actually, I'm afraid it isn't possible to leave early today. We have a lot of work to finish. Next, the next is suggestion. Like, shall we take a break? And the response is, yes, I think it's a good time for a break. Next is a thank you. Like, thank you very much for your help. The response is, you're welcome. Don't mention it. And the next is surprising news. The stock market rose 10% this morning. The response is, really? You're kidding. I don't believe it. Next is bad news. Like, my aunt is sick. And the response is, what a shame. I'm sorry to hear that. Next is a difficult question like what is the population of New York? The response is, to be honest, I'm not sure. I couldn't even make a guess on that one. Next is an apology, like, I'm very sorry about that. The response is, it doesn't matter, don't worry. Next. The next situation is talking about job. Talking about job has a goal to introducing work or getting to know other people's work, like what do you do, what are your main responsibilities, who is your boss, who do you work for, and what is your background. Next. And another examples from that source, like what has your career path been? What line of profession are you in? What professional skills are you currently working on? And what professional association are you member of? The next situation is talking about family and relationship. Next. Talking about family and relationship has a goal to discussing personal aspect to create closer relationship. Like use the name. The example is my name is Amaragita Tiarani Wicaya. My first name is Amaragita. My middle name is Tiarani and my last name is Wicaya. And for the status, when you say I'm single, but for male is bachelor and female is single woman. Next. Here I show the example of using a love story and not a love story, where the connection with English for socializing is that stories like this train the ability to talk about personal life politely and structure in a social context. Next. And the last is relation. There is a family tree of a family where John and Elizabeth Wade are Bob's grandparents. Elizabeth Wade is Paul's mother-in-law. Jilly is Paul's sister-in-law. Peter is senior is Bob's uncle, and Pamela is Susan's niece. After that, John Wade is Paul's father-in-law. Peter senior is Paul's brother-in-law. Susan is Bob's aunt. Bob is Susan's nephew. Bob and Karen are cousins. Next. That's all from me. The next situation will be explained by Asoka.
Okay, the next situation is talking about home. Okay, there are many type of home. The first is a duplex. The second is townhouse. The third is a villa. Other example is the one is a colonial, second farmhouse, and the last is industrial. There is a picture of a duplex, and there is a picture of industrial. Now, place in the home. There are two places in the home, like upstairs and downstairs. For the upstairs, has a bedroom, bathroom, and roof, and for the downstairs, have dining room and living room. There are the picture of the upstairs and downstairs in the home. Okay, the next is typical action in the home. For bedroom, the action is wake up, turn off the alarm clock, get up, and get dressed. For the bathroom is take off clothes, brush teeth, soap, wash face, and dry body. Where is home? The example for as a child is I was born in a little village and grew up there. And the second is I spent a lot of my childhood in the country, not in the city. The example for the location is my town is the north of New York. There is example for specific location. And other example is my villa is in the south part of Indonesia. There is example for specific region. Okay, the next is talking about interest and sport. Interest refers to the positive emotion or motivation that arises when someone finds something interesting or personally relevant. And sport is a human activity involving physical exertion and skill as the primary focus on the activity. The example of interest is like I play chess and poker. I like painting. I play the guitar and the piano. The example for the sport is football, baseball, soccer, and basketball. There is specific term in the sport. For the football, has a quarter touchdown, tackle. For the baseball, has inning, home run, and pitch. For the soccer, has a half, goal, and serve. And the last is for the basketball, has quarter and dribble. The next, if you want to ask someone about sport, you can use this sentence like, do you play football? Do you play basketball? Or do you play baseball? The next is talking about movie and stage show. Movie are work of visual art in the form of moving images that tell story or idea. And stage show are a form of live entertainment present on the stage in a front of the audience. The example of the people is the first, De Niro is a wonderful actor. The second is DiCaprio played the lead in Titanic. There are many type of movie. Like first is horror, second comedy, the third is fantasy, and the fourth is crime. Okay, the next is example of the content. The first is the plot is very clear. The second is the film was set in the last century. And the example of stage show or theater, the first is I have reserved seat. The second is the whole cast was excellent. Next is positive and negative comment. There are many example for positive comment. From the book I get, it was powerful, it was good fun, and other example I get is the movie is a nice, great entertaining movie. The next is for negative comment. From the book I get, it was slow, very boring. It was a little predictable. And other example is too long for a simple story and bad visual effect. Okay, there is reference I get. The next situation will be present by Trisna.
Thank you, Asoka. The next situation is talking about vacation. The purpose of talking about vacation is to help you describe your travel experience, including how you get there, what you saw, and what you did. The first is, where did you go? Discuss place visit during holiday. For example, we stayed in a hotel, we went camping, we spent week in Seminyak. Number two, how did you get there? Explain how to talk about the ways of getting a vacation destination. Example, we flew to Bali, we drove from the airport to Ubud. Number three, what was it like? This part describes the atmosphere and surrounding of the vacation destination. The place, for example, the area safe with friendly people and clean street. The geography, for example, this place is mostly flat, good for walking around. Number four, what did you see? Focus on the tourist attraction visit during the trip. For example, did you visit the famous temple? Did you see the sea? Number five, we had a great time. Describe a fun activity. Example, we spent the day relaxing by the pool. We got lost several times. Next situation is talking about business environment. The purpose is to help you talk confidently about business topic, including the economy, company performance, and future projection using appropriate business vocabulary. Number 1, the economy. This section focus on discussing the current state of the economy using terms like inflation, unemployment, investment, export and import, and interest rate. Number 2 is the company. This section discuss the performance of a company. Key terms include turnover, market share, share price, productivity, sales, and price. Number 3 is corporate strategy. This section covers the strategy a company used to grow a restructure. For example, takeover, merging, relocating, joint venture, focusing on core business, and abandoning diversification. Number 4 is management. This section introduces important business terminology. For example, downsizing, outsourcing, restructuring, and benchmarking. And number 5 is the future. The section talk about forecasting and prediction for the future. For example, do you agree? The response is, I agree with you and I'm not sure. The next situation is talking about healthy and lifestyle. The purpose of talking about health and lifestyle is to explain health conditions, seek medical help, discuss injuries, and promote health lifestyle. The first is, what's the matter? This section help identify and describe common health problem. For example, I don't feel very well, I've got a cold, I feel sick. Number 2 is health. This section focus on seeking help when unwell. For example, I should see a doctor. Do you have anything for a headache? Number 3 is injuries. This section explain vocabulary for discussing injuries. For example, I broke my leg and I burnt my hand. Number 4 is seriously illness. This section addresses more critical health condition. For example, she died from lung cancer and he has been diagnosed HIV positive. And number 5 is fitness and weight. This section focus on fitness, weight management, and healthy living. For example, I try to keep a healthy diet and I'm trying to give up smoking. The next question is making invitation. Making invitation is act of inviting someone to attend an event, join an activity, to provide an option, and to confirm. The first one is inviting. For example, we'd like to invite you to dinner. Would you like to come to dinner? How about dinner? Would you like to join us? And responding is, if accepting, thank you, and that would be nice. If declining, I'm sorry, but if got another appointment. Number 3 is time. Discussing the timing of the invitation. For example, would Thursday evening be okay? What's a good time? Number 4 is place. Describes the location. For example, that's the best way of getting there. Number 5 is number. Explaining the number of attendants. For example, we've invited a few friends. Number 6 is formality. Providing information about the level of formality. For example, it will very informal. Number 7 is confirming the details of the invitation. For example, so that's 7:13 on Friday. Don't be late. That's all from me. The next situation will be explained by Rema.
Okay, thank you, Trisna. The next situation is eating out. The goal of eating out is helping someone interact politely and effectively in a shared dining situation, whether in a restaurant, dinner party, or informal business meeting. The example of arriving for dinner, example sentence from The guest, I have brought you a present. The host response is, thank you, that's very kind of you. The next is during dinner. Example from a guest, it looks wonderful. The host response is, I hope you like it. After the meal, the example from a guest, thank you for a wonderful evening. The host responses, it was good to have you over. Next. In the restaurant, this section contains example of sentences frequently used when ordering food at a restaurant. Example of context usage. The first one is, as a starter, could I have the tomato soup, please? Can you recommend anything? Do you have anything vegetarian? As a dessert, I'll have the chocolate cake, please. Could we see the wine list? Might I have receipt? Do you take American Express? And the last one is, it was very nice, thank you. The example situation, the example with the waiter. Are you ready to order? Yes, as a main course, I'd like the grilled chicken. Next. The next one is do's and don'ts in eating out. The do's, the first one is maintain table manners, engage in polite conversation, and the last one, thank the host after the meal. And the don'ts, the first one is make negative comments, don't interrupt or talk loudly, and don't overuse phones, and the last one is don't chew with your mouth open or slurp your food. Next. The next situation is saying goodbye. The goal is teaches how to say goodbye politely and professionally in various social or business contexts. The example time to go, I'm afraid I'll have to go, otherwise I'll miss my flight. The second one is I really should leave now, and the last one is okay, I'd better be off. The positive comments, the first one is, it's been great working with you. The second one is, we've had a wonderful time. The response is the same for me, and I'm glad you found it interesting. Next. The next one is more comments, a more formal or group way of saying goodbye. The first one is, on behalf of us all, I'd like to say that it's been a pleasure working with you. The second one is, it's going to be sad to see you go. And the last one is, we'll all be sorry to see you leave. The next one is future context. This section focuses on the promise to stay in touch. The first one is, I hope we'll see you again soon. Keep in touch. And the last one is, give me a call next time you are in town. Next. The next one is contact comments. This section contains ways to share context to ensure communication continues. The example is, let me give you my business card. Do you have my phone number? And the last one is, you can reach me at the number I just gave you. The next one is goodbye. The final comments, the example is, have a safe journey, take care, and goodbye. The final responses is, thanks, same to you, and goodbye. Do's and don'ts. The do's, the first one is be polite, acknowledges the time spent together, and the last one is be respectful of the other person time. The don'ts, the first one is don't leave without acknowledging the other person, and the second one is don't make the goodbye to approve or rude. Next. Cross-cultural tips. The goal is avoiding misunderstanding or behavior that might be considered rude in certain cultures. The first one is body language. This section highlights the importance of understanding body language in cross-cultural interaction. The key takeaways, the role of handshake, eye contact, posture, facial expression, gesture, and personal distance. Message in some cultural physical contexts, such as kissing on the cheek or touching the shoulder, can be considered normal, but in other cultures, it is considered rude. Next. The next one is formality. This section discusses the importance of formality in a particular culture. Key takeaways, use of titles, dress code, age or job hierarchy, and sensitivity to humor. Message: dressing appropriately for context and knowing how formal an interaction is can help create a positive impression. The next one is language and conversation. This section highlights the language aspect and topic of conversation. Key takeaways: expertise in small talk, taboo topics, and understanding whether honesty is considered polite or rude. And the message: in some cultures, speaking too directly can be considered rude, while in other culture it is expected. Next. The next one is invitation. This section discusses etiquette when accepting or giving invitation. Key points: when they arrive, what to wear, bring gift, who pays, and whether the invitation is sincere or just formality. Message: different cultures have norms about how one should respond to an invitation. The next one is time. This section explains the perception of time in different culture. The key points: punctuality, working hours, attitude toward waiting, and separation of working time from personal time. Message: in some culture, punctuality is crucial, while in other times, flexibility is more acceptable. Next. Society. This section discusses gender roles, stereotypes, and personal relationship in a particular culture. Key takeaways: understand the position of men and women, avoid stereotypes, and the importance of social connection. Message: social change affect how the role and expectation of individual in society are. That's all for me, and I will return it to the moderator.
Okay, thank you guys for the explain. Thank you for watching our presentation on English for Socializing. We hope the information we share will be useful for improving your communication skills in various social and professional contexts. We also apologize if there were any mistakes in our pronunciation during the presentation. Once again, we are from class 11 and thank you for your attention.